You didn't miss the signs. You were never clueless. You were operating without the full picture. And that difference matters more than most men are willing to admit. Because if you're the kind of man who replays conversations months or years later and suddenly realizes she was interested, this isn't coincidence. It's pattern blindness, not weakness, not failure, just incomplete information. Women don't experience attraction the way men do. They don't wait for certainty. They read signals. Men, on the other hand, are taught to wait for confirmation, for permission, for something obvious enough that it can't be misinterpreted. And by the time that clarity arrives, it's usually already gone. That gap between what she shows and what you recognize is where confusion lives. Tonight, that gap closes because once you see these signs clearly, you stop wondering. You stop guessing, and most importantly, you stop waking up at night asking yourself, did I miss my chance? I'm Amelia, and this is Dark Psychology. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth most men don't hear early enough. A woman can often tell within moments if someone is interested in her. She's biologically wired to notice subtle shifts, tone, posture, timing, attention. Men aren't wired that way. Men require clarity delivered directly, sometimes bluntly, sometimes embarrassingly late. And that's why recognition so often arrives in retrospect. But attraction doesn't vanish just because you didn't recognize it in time. It leaves patterns behind. And men who learn to notice patterns instead of reacting emotionally move differently. Let's start with the first sign, the one most men feel but dismiss: listening. Not polite listening, not casual listening. I'm talking about enthusiasm. When she leans in, not just physically, but mentally. When she listens intently, nods, sometimes repeatedly, encouraging you to continue. When your jokes aren't even good, but she laughs anyway. Not out of courtesy, but delight. Men who stay silent often mistake this for friendliness. Men who observe notice something else. She's not just hearing you, she's aligning with you. She wants to appear fun, agreeable, easy to be around. She wants to sit comfortably on your good side without ever announcing her intention. And that effort, subtle as it seems, takes energy. No woman spends that energy accidentally. And then there's touch. Small, seemingly irrelevant. She fixes your tie, adjusts your collar, smooths your hair, buttons or unbuttons your shirt. That isn't randomness. That's comfort crossing into permission. Here's something most men never test, but should pretend you're struggling with your tie. If she hesitates, stays distant, keeps her hands to herself, pay attention. But if she steps in without hesitation, closes the space, corrects you gently, that moment tells you more than words ever will. And if you ask her out right then, calmly, without pressure, you force clarity to reveal itself. If she says yes, the story is simple. If she says no, but offers another time, another day, you haven't been rejected. She's preserving her plans, not rejecting you. And men who understand that difference don't spiral, they adjust. Because attraction doesn't always ask you to cancel your life. Sometimes it just asks to be scheduled. But listening and touch are only the surface. There's another signal happening lower in the body, one most men notice without understanding. And once you understand it, you'll never misread stillness the same way again. Most men think attraction announces itself loudly. It doesn't. It whispers through behavior that feels almost accidental unless you know where to look. Let's talk about touch, not dramatic touch, not overt seduction, the kind of touch that happens while she's talking. A hand on your arm to emphasize a point, fingers brushing your shoulder mid-sentence, a brief contact on your thigh when she laughs. Men who react emotionally pull away or freeze. Men who notice patterns stay still and observe because women are extremely selective with touch. They don't distribute it casually. Touch requires comfort. Comfort requires trust. And trust doesn't happen in seconds unless attraction already opened the door. Here's the part that quietly shifts perspective. If she touches you when there is no conversational reason to do so, that's not habit. That's intent slipping through control. a tap on your arm as she walks past, a light brush when sitting close, even in silence. That's her body checking alignment before her mind commits. Most men misinterpret this as friendliness because they're taught to downplay interest until it's undeniable. But women don't escalate verbally first. They escalate physically, subtly, because it's safer. And now we lower. Because attraction doesn't just show up in the hands, it shows up in the legs. A woman's way of crossing her legs isn't just posture, it's anatomy, it's framing, it's exposure and concealment happening at the same time. When she crosses and uncrosses her legs repeatedly while talking to you, especially when they keep pointing in your direction, that's not restlessness. That's attention looking for an outlet. Her body is engaged before her words catch up. And if she's wearing heels, watch closely. A dangling foot, a shoe slipping halfway off, then back on. Slow, absent-minded play with the heel. That motion isn't random. It's subconscious. It's stimulation without destination yet. Men who don't understand this think nothing of it. Men who do understand realize something unsettling. Her body is already responding, even if her mind hasn't decided what to do with you yet. This is where tension begins, because now you're faced with a choice. Do you ignore the signs and stay safe, or do you recognize them and move with calm precision? But before you answer that internally, there's another layer most men never catch. It happens when you move first without realizing it. And if she mirrors you, that's when attraction stops being subtle. That's when it starts revealing itself. Here's where the situation becomes uncomfortable for men who rely only on logic, because attraction doesn't just reveal itself through what she does, it shows up in how she copies you. And most people never realize they're doing it. This is called mirroring, but don't rush to label it yet. Labels make men stop observing. Instead, notice the behavior. You check your phone casually. You glance at your watch for half a second. You shift your posture, cross your arms, lean back, then you wait. If she does the same shortly after without realizing it, you're no longer guessing. You're watching alignment happen in real time. People mimic those they feel drawn to, not consciously, not strategically. The nervous system does it first. The mind follows later. Men who never explain themselves often miss this because they're too focused on saying the right thing. Men who notice patterns see it immediately. And here's the psychological twist most people don't expect. Mirroring isn't just attraction, it's permission forming. Her mind is saying, I'm safe matching you. That's why checking your phone or watch becomes such a powerful test. It's neutral. It carries no intention. And that's exactly why the response is honest. But mirroring doesn't stop with movement. It slips into play. She starts fidgeting, jewelry between her fingers, a necklace being traced slowly, a ring rotated, then removed, then put back on. This isn't boredom. This is excess energy with nowhere to go yet. Attraction creates tension. Tension looks for release. And when release isn't available, the hands take over. And now comes the part most men feel but never hear explained out loud. Objects matter. Long objects, smooth objects, cylindrical shapes, a wine glass stem being stroked slowly, fingers circling the rim, a bottle held by the neck instead of the body, even earrings pulled gently, rings slid on and off. This isn't crude. It's neurological leakage. Sexual thoughts don't announce themselves verbally. They escape through motion. Men who over-intellectualize this dismiss it. Men who understand human behavior quietly register it and stay composed because reacting too soon breaks the spell. And that's the key distinction. Attraction grows when it isn't interrogated, which brings us to one of the most revealing signals of all, one that exposes vulnerability without words: hair. When a woman moves her hair to one side and exposes her neck toward you, she's not fixing anything, she's revealing. The neck and palms are erogenous zones. Showing them isn't accidental. It's a subconscious invitation, not for action, but for attention. Some psychologists argue this gesture also releases pheromones from the armpits, intensifying attraction biologically. But even without theory, the behavior tells its own story. She feels secure enough to soften, and softness is never shown without trust. But trust alone doesn't complete the picture. Because the most dangerous signal, the one men misread the most, doesn't involve movement at all. It happens in silence, in the eyes. And once you see it, you won't unsee it. Eyes don't lie. They reveal before permission is granted. When a woman is sexually attracted to someone, her gaze changes. Not dramatically, not like in movies, it slows down. She looks at your eyes, then your lips, then back to your eyes. That triangle isn't curiosity, it's assessment. Men who rush to interpret this miss the point. Men who stay grounded feel the shift instead. This is called the flirtatious gaze. But naming it isn't important. Understanding it is. Because when attraction deepens, the eyes don't just look, they open. Her pupils dilate slightly, almost imperceptibly. This isn't imagination. The pupil expands when the brain wants to absorb something fully, something it finds pleasing. It's a biological reaction. She cannot control it, and here's the moment most men misunderstand. If you catch her looking at you and she doesn't look away immediately, that's not confidence. That's comfort with desire. Men who believe confidence means dominance miss this entirely. True confidence creates stillness. It allows space. It doesn't rush to fill silence. And that stillness invites her to remain. Now watch closely, because attraction doesn't just reflect, it adjusts. If she likes you, she'll begin to match you. Your posture, your rhythm, your tempo. But sometimes she does the opposite. Her vocal pitch rises, not dramatically, not cartoonish, just enough. If she's mirroring your gestures but her voice becomes slightly higher than normal, she's doing something deliberate without knowing she's doing it. She's emphasizing femininity. She's appealing to your masculine instincts, not through words, but tone. Men who mistake this for nervousness often pull back. Men who understand stay steady because attraction intensifies when it feels safe, not when it's interrogated. And now everything comes together. Listening, touch, legs, mirroring, play, hair, eyes, voice. None of these alone guarantee attraction. But when several appear together, especially without effort from you, you're no longer guessing, you're recognizing alignment. This is where confusion disappears, because the goal was never to chase signs. It was to see clearly. Men who operate with clarity don't rush. They don't seek validation. They don't force moments. They recognize them. And once you understand this, you stop wondering whether you have a chance. You move when it's natural, you speak when it matters, and you remain calm when it doesn't. Because the man who sees patterns instead of chasing certainty is the man attraction feels safe revealing itself to.